A DSO is a dental service organization. They're important because it takes the administrative side of a dental practice away from a dentist. So the intent of the legislature was to give the authorization to a company to be able to help a dentist manage, attention, the non-professional aspect of a dental practice. So it's important to note that the DSO, the Dental Service Organization, is going to manage all administrative aspects. Rent, paying, billing, incorporating. In Florida, a dentist cannot, or a dental practice cannot be owned by somebody that is not a licensed dentist. And there can be a partnership between a dentist and a non-dentist, non-licensed dentist. The intent of the legislature is to give dentists that support staff, that support system, so that they can come into their practice and do their clinical judgment, be able to just practice dentistry, going into the patient's mouth. So anything that you're going into the patient's mouth that is dental, that is professional work, they went to school, they got their license, and nobody but a licensed professional is able to do and render those services. So that is a big important part. Now, obviously, you'll see there's a fine line into determining what is administrative, what is professional, who manages what, who's the owner of the practice. So I think that those are all the aspects that obviously GLC can help you sort out and make sure that we'll get them through and that the deals are done correctly, where a dentist hires a DSO to be able to come and help support them to their practice. Dental leases are crucial in the acquisition of any business, but most importantly in dental practices. Why? Because any other industry that is non-specific to a dental practice, an attorney's office, for example, you can grab the chairs, the tables, the computers, and go to another location. I mean, obviously there's work, but rather seamlessly. In a dental transaction, you spend thousands of dollars doing a build-out, plumbing, chairs, your big panoramics, your CT scan, your iTero scans, that they're fixtures that are in the walls of the dental practice. So relocation is something that I look for a lot in the dental leases. What happens if you have a landlord and they want to relocate you and move you and give you no notice? For an attorney's office, let's say that's not such a big deal, but for a dentist, that is thousands of dollars that they'll have to do to relocate. So that's something that I always look for. I look for liens in the equipment. So if you take out, for example, buy some dental equipment, a panoramic, an iTero machine, or any equipment, you'll get a lien, but you will get a lien not just on that asset and all of the assets. So then that limits your liability, your opportunity to sell your practice. That's also important. Anything that you have that you'll be a personal guarantor for, you want to make sure that it's reviewed, it is attended to, and it's something that will double check in the lease of part of it. So the leases are absolutely important. They're necessary. You need to do it with an attorney, and you need to watch out for those clauses that I'm telling you. Well, I think that if you're selling, obviously you want to make sure that you're open to due diligence. The buyer's going to come and ask you for a whole bunch of information. So if you are planning on selling your practice, it is crucial for you to go and speak to your accountant, have that set up, figure out where those gains are going to come from. Should you do it this year, next year? What are your tax implications? And then obviously have all your documents set up. I think that we have so many transactions where the sellers are trying to, they're like, oh, it's okay, since I'm selling, I'm just going to give it away. And then we start asking for information in the inspection period, in the due diligence period, and the transaction gets stuck because the seller's not organized. So for a seller, definitely needs to be organized, needs to have their internal affairs in order. But for them, it would be speak to your accountant, make sure that your tax liability is there, that you're not going to get hit with a big tax bill in that year, that you'll be able to offset set and be able to have that structure in place. For a buyer, there are 4 things. As soon as I get a buyer, I'm like, okay, let's talk about 4 things. The importance of leases and landlords, because we're dealing with a third party. So that is the first thing I want to get down and get hashed out, because it's a third party non-related to our transaction. So we want to make sure, review the lease, make sure you're okay with the lease, make sure we have an assignment, we have everything in place. Second thing, due diligence. That's when we ask the seller everything. I want to make sure that my buyer knows what they're buying. So that's where I'm telling you, this is what it is. Do you still want it? So due diligence is important because we're making sure that the buyer knows what they're purchasing. Third thing, the first day when someone comes in, I'm like, go do an inventory. So it's the inventory. You want to make sure you know what you're buying. Tables, chairs, equipment, but are we transferring custody of the patients, or is it just the assets? Are we transferring the name? Do we have the DBA, the company, whatever it is that we're transferring? We need to make sure that there's an inventory in place. And lastly, the same thing is insurances. And this is something that a lot of people don't take into consideration until you finally buy and sell. And then you start working as a buyer, and now you have insurances and you can't take on insurances. So how it works in dental is that a dentist needs to get credentialed in order to take an insurance carrier. Credential with that insurance company. So if you come and you have an HMO, a PPO, in order to give the service, you have to be credentialed. That credentialing process can take anywhere from 30 days to 60 days. So what I immediately do is get a list of all the insurance companies that the seller is currently taking, so that you can start getting credentialed with that insurance. So the day of closing, the very next day, you can see patients with those insurance companies. So absolutely crucial, necessary. You need to have those things. Those are like my 4 go-tos: due diligence, lease, insurances, and inventories.